Hello, and welcome to Spirit Island. Okay, this is a cooperative, though today I'm going to be playing it solo, anti-colonial game. Basically, you're a spirit on an island, as the game suggests, and the white man comes to colonize it, build cities, ravage the land, develop it, and you, working with the indigenous population of that land, are going to work to kick the invaders away, scare them away, and make them think that settling here is just not worth the pain. So let's jump right into it and see what happens. I'm just going to do a fairly small island, which is one spirit. This game really shines in the cooperative nature of having multiple spirits, but for the first video, I think that would be a little bit complicated, and also it's a little bit slower when you're one person. When you're two people, there's so much dynamic and cooperativeness going on. For one, let's just try one thing here. We'll try a diverse set of people, and let's go up against England. So for our first game here on the channel, let's grab one of the more simple spirits that we can play. What is he called? I'm not too worried about it. Well, we'll give a name here in a second. And we're going up against the Kingdom of England. It's going to have a bunch of different things, but let's learn the game before worrying about any of this. I'm going to go ahead and put them on level 1. Their difficulty level is overall at a level 3. You can go all the way up to level 10 difficulty on 6. Different factions. There's all kinds of different factions that can be settlers. Can be harder or weaker. There's scenarios. Let's not worry about it. Let's play on level 1 England, which is a difficulty 3 overall, and hit go. So here's our little island. There's a little coastal land here, and basically the land is divided into a whole bunch of these little tiles, and what the colonists are doing is they're sending out people to go and explore the land. By sending out people, those people will then build settlements and cities, and then those cities will attack and ravage the land. The way to figure out what's going on basically is if we look down here at the bottom, every round here there's going to be an exploration, which is what you just saw. Troops come out of either the coast or cities and settlements to explore different tiles, and then they send out like this explorer dude. Next up, which is going to happen at the end of this turn, or in this turn I'll explain, they're going to build. So here we have this M for mountain tile. These people in these tiles, there's 2 of them, are going to start building up settlements. If there's ever more settlements than there are cities in a tile, they'll build cities instead. So it can get really problematic really fast. And then eventually they'll ravage and attack the land. They attack it for values of basically how big a unit is. A city's worth 3, a settlement's worth 2, and an individual explorer's worth 1. Doesn't really matter, but if they attack and blight the land, we will eventually lose the game. We have a healthy island right now. It can get blighted and destroyed. We'll talk about that when it becomes relevant. They'll also kill these little mushrooms that you see dotted around. Those are the Catan, the native people of this island that we can kind of work with to fight back the invader, and we'll talk about that in a second. How do we win this game? Well, realistically, it's by killing all the invaders. Right now, there's not so many of them. There's only like literally 4 white pieces on the board, but they're going to spread hard and fast, and we're like a spirit that's been slumbering. We have to slowly wake up and gain our power to call in earthquakes and tsunamis. Right now, we might just use a little bit of plague to send them packing. How we win is based on this terror level. Right now, we're at terror level 1. We needed to kill all the explorers, all the settlements, and all the cities. As we do things that terrify the explorers, you know, the people trying to settle this land, their terror level will go up, and we'll only have to destroy settlements and cities, and eventually we'll only have to kill cities to win. And if we push it even further than that, you can just win by terror outright. Generally, I win by killing everything or killing all the cities. They might still have explorers and settlements on the board, but if you can get to terror level 3, that's kind of a sweet spot for victory. Great, so yeah, you can get terror from playing cards. Maybe I have an example in hand right now. I have one here. This card here, just near the bottom, has a little cross swords with a 2 before it in the +3 damage and 2 terror. So you can get terror from playing certain cards, and you can get terror from destroying cities and settlements. Doesn't really matter. How do we actually play? Well, let's click on our character here. We are Vital Strength of the Earth, a spirit guardian of stone. We have a Earth's Vitality feature, which is that we get a defend of 3 wherever we have a sacred site, which is just 2 things stacked on top of each other. You can see one here. We also have the ability to gain 2 energy per turn and play 1 card per turn. As we play, every turn we're going to have a chance to grow and put more tokens down, getting them off of our board and unveiling, instead of 2 energy per turn, 3, 4, 6, 7. But for the cards played, we go from 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. So we're really slow in terms of playing lots of cards. Other characters might do a ton of stuff. They have way more complicated features. We're just playing a simple one today. And then finally, so basically we're going to be playing few but large cards as we play this game and getting stronger. And then finally we have this innate power of strength. Any of our allies, we have none, so we can just pick ourselves for this. We'll be able to repeat a card with 1 power a second time, or a card of 3 power or 6 power, if we can play a lot of cards with these symbols. So whenever we're adding cards to our hand, which we'll do a handful of times, we're going to be looking to synergize with these colors. So what's going on here? Well, basically this is a puzzle game. We want to keep solving the issues here. Eventually, this settlement here in the mountains, they are going to build a settlement, right? So they're going to have a settlement and a dude, and then this build card will go over to Ravage, and they will attack the land for 3. Well, because we have a sacred site here, we actually are going to be able to defend ourselves pretty much perfectly against that. Like, it's not going to be a problem. So we're just kind of good here. Though eventually we'll want to kill or destroy those things. We also know that down here they're going to do something similar. So to solve that problem, we could pick one of these growth cards. For instance, grow 1 tile away and gain 2 energy, which will allow us to take this token here and put it next door. Boom. Now we're going to be getting 3 energy per turn, right? Now, that's kind of planning for the future. Another thing that's going to be happening is they're going to be building. We could stop them from building by removing them from the tile. So right now, they're in this tile, and they are going to build. If we had a red card, a fast card, we could attack and kill this person. Right, so if we click on our red cards, I think I can right click, it has this little red bird speed. These are cards that we get to do before our opponent gets to do these actions down here. Okay, so if we killed this guy, we would kill him before the build happens. Alternatively, a card's going to come up here. We don't know what it is. There's 2 more in the deck, and it will send out additional explorers. It won't be mountains. So, maybe they'll send out a guy to this green tile and to this green tile. Well, because we know that they're going to be exploring different tiles, we can be proactive and say, let's move them away once they get there. For instance, we have this card here, which is Drawn of the Fruitful Earth. So this says speed slow. So after the opponent, the explorers, the settlers have done their exploration, we can target a land that's 1 range away. So we have a token in this land. It could target any of these things. We just can't target up here. We can gather, so adjacent locations with explorers, we can gather and pull them in. So I'd like to do that with the goal of pulling explorers away from their locations next turn. So whatever the next build is, let's say it's green, we'll be able to remove them from there and they won't actually do any building. So that's one of our cards that we have, probably what we'll do on our first turn. We also have Ritual of Destruction. So this says within 1 range of a sacred site, we can target a land that has Dahan, these mushrooms, and we can do 2 damage to them. So it takes 2 damage to destroy a settlement, 1 damage to destroy a explorer, and 3 to destroy a city. So we could do that to help destroy things after they've built them or explored or whatnot. But if there's at least 3 Dahan in that location, we can do a bonus of 3 more damage, which is incredible, and do an extra 2 fear, which will help us scare them away from the island for good. We have a guard the healing land, which allows us to defend for 4 and remove a blight. So if the opponent's about to attack and destroy a place, we can be in trouble. And then finally, invaders skip all action in this land. This isn't really helpful early on because it's better to just kill the people there or move them around. But especially later on when multiple cards can affect multiple locations, we could be in trouble. We also have this handy button on the far right that we can click, and it will basically just tell you, hey, right now, nothing's going to get ravaged because it's the first turn, and 2 lands are going to have settlements built in them. So that's enough for our first turn. Let's go ahead. We finished playing cards. We now get to play all our red cards. We have no red cards. So then it's the invader phase. In the future, there will be event cards and fear cards and stuff, but, you know, as described, the invaders went here and they built a couple of different settlements, and then now they're going to explore. They pulled a sands card, so they're exploring up into the sands. Fine by me. What we are going to do now is pull Drawn of the Bountiful Earth. And if we play it here on this wetlands, we can actually pull this explorer and this explorer, and that should prevent them from building on sands because they're not actually on the sands tile anymore. And then let's go ahead and pull in some of our Dahan, so we have a whole bunch of Dahan in one location, so that, you know, maybe we do our big attack card next turn or something to do a ton of damage. Perfect. And that's basically the first turn. We're just going to do that over and over again. So right now, the settlers, they have a bunch more baddies. So this turn, we want to protect ourselves in this land. To do that, we should just get a second token, maybe take advantage of our defend 3 in lands where we have a double. So we're going to click here. We're going to add a presence. I don't actually need more energy right now. I'm getting 3 per turn. I feel quite rich. Let's start working down the ability to play more cards. So now we have 2 double stacks, both defending for 3. In this land, what's interesting is that the opponents are going to attack. And see how I have that 3 shield? It means that 0 damage is going to be done to the land based on that. But what it does mean is that the Dahan that are there is a Dahan in this spot right here, are going to survive. And Dahan have a health of 2, and they get attacked when the settlers attack the land. But they also get to fight back. So any Dahan that survive an attack, counter attack. So they'll attack them back for 2. So the fact that they have a settler, like an explorer, and a settlement means that the Dahan's going to survive, the Dahan's going to attack back, and the Dahan's going to destroy their settlement. So you can see that in the Ravage this turn. 0 damage to land, and then X'd out a settlement. So that's really nice. Over here, we're going to take no damage, but we're not going to kill a settlement because there is no Dahan here to do a fight. There is a build in Sands, but nothing's going to get built in or this turn. Nothing's going to get built in this land because there's nobody there. And in this land, we have this little yellow symbol, and this yellow symbol says the next build action doesn't count. It's a very nice symbol. We can get them through certain cards, but we started the game with one. So this turn, nothing's going to get ravaged, and no lands are going to get built on. Pretty good, but they're still going to explore and do some nasty stuff there. All right, next up, let's gain a power card. So when you gain a power card, you can gain a major power card. These are really expensive. And you have to throw one of your existing cards to get it. It's something you do in the mid to late game. Right now, let's focus on some minor powers. We do want things that are more expensive, but it is what it is. We could play cards like this, Gift of Power, Target Spirit, because again, if you're playing a cooperative game, you'll have other spirits that you can work with. And you can play it solo, just manipulating multiple spirits at the same time. This is a good card for us in terms of colors, like mountains and green are good for us. We also want yellow. Here we have yellow and mountains, so that might be nice as well. But this is kind of a slow approach. Target spirit gains a minor power. Nothing's being ravaged right now, so we could take the chance at this, but I just don't think we need it. Elemental Boon is also really interesting. You can give that to your allies and give them more symbols to trigger certain effects of their cards or their special power. Again, in solo, it's not so important. Delusions of Danger here would allow us to push people around at high speed and once again maybe prevent them from building in a space because we pushed them out as soon as they got there, or we could just give them 2 fear, which is pretty nice. It's the equivalent of blowing up a city. And then finally we have Devouring Ants. 1 fear, 1 damage, and destroy a Dahan. If the land is jungle or sands, get +1 damage. Almost certainly I want Devouring Lands, but right now there's nothing in the jungle. There is something in the sands. There's nothing in that sands. It's not going to be a helpful card this turn, but I think the Devouring Ants is the play. They might explore with this 1 card into the wetlands or into the jungle. I'm not sure which. So we get to play 1 card once again. We could do a bunch of damage here in the wetlands. I really like that because it also gives us the bonus of 2 fear. We could do defend 4. We don't actually have to do any defend 4s. We could skip all actions. Don't really need to do that either. 1 damage that also kills the Dahan is kind of crummy if they do explore into... Well, I was going to say if they explore into here, but if they did explore into jungle, we could just play the card here. So maybe we actually do use the ants. Oh, but it has to target from a sacred site. So if they were to explore into wetlands, it would be more annoying because I wouldn't have a way of really doing anything with it. Interesting. Because I really want to target it in jungles and sands, but this city has 3 health. Tricky. I think that since we have all the Dahan kind of put together here, let's just do a Rituals of Destruction. It's an expensive card, but we're getting 3 power per turn anyway. Again, we have no fast abilities. If you like playing fast game, then absolutely Lightning Strikes the Earth. It's like a Thunderbird. It is such a fun faction to play for just go. Alright, so now we're going to get an event card. This is our first time with a full stack, so we're going to get an event card pulled. It usually flips through the cards a little bit too fast for me to do anything with, so let's take a second and read what just happened. For the rest of this turn, settlements and cities have +1 health. Yikes. Blight spreads. If we had a blighted island, this thing would have happened instead of the green thing. Then Prey on the Island. Each wolf token destroys 1 invader, and we add a wolf token to a board. This whole map is 1 board without 1, so we probably won't get 1. And then finally there's Coming of Age. On each board, add 1 Dahan to a coastal land with Dahan. So we actually have that down here and down here. Oh, this Ravage is about to happen, so this is perfect timing. Let's put a second Dahan here that will be protected, and now when they ravage the mountains, this house would have survived because it had +1 health, but we actually did 4 damage with that number of Dahan, so we were fine. What a win. Great. Invaders are now going to build and now explore. So, exploring into the jungle. All right. So this does 2 damage, but 3 damage if we had at least 3 of these guys. I forgot that it has to be from a sacred site, so I can't actually do this site here. And then the target land has to have Dahan as well. So that was a huge fail because we literally got nothing out of it, and I played a card for nothing when I could have just played Devouring Ants and it would have killed that guy. Yeah, that was a big mistake. Oopsie. Let's continue gaining more power. I'm not sure how to handle this turn here. They're going to ravage for 3 in this sands tile. We could spend a big turn with the invader skip actions phase. That might be worthwhile. Yeah. Guarding for 4 would also work. It removes a blight, which is nice, but there is no blight there. Let's go ahead. We'll add another card. This is going to grow our power because when I put it down, we can now place 2 cards per turn, and we've gotten a closer sacred site. Next up, let's gain a power card. Again, I think I'm going to go for minor for now. I like in the early game to get a couple of minor cards. Okay, what do we have here? Target any land at 1 range, destroy a explorer. If the target is a jungle or wetland, destroy all of the explorers. Okay, well that could kill these 2 guys. It's not really needed right away, but certainly something that we could do. Hunger of the Earth. If you're present, +1 fear and 1 damage. If the land is a wetland or a sand, +1 damage. We're not actually present in any of the wetlands or sands, so it's not that good for us. Call to Tend. Remove some blight or push a bunch of Dahan. Pushing Dahan can be very helpful for us. As we know, we have some cards that synergize with having Dahan in the location. And finally, there's the Swarming Wasps, which can add a bunch of wolves or move explorers around, so that would stop them from doing a build action, for instance. I don't actually love any of these cards, to be honest. This one at least has a mountain piece to it. And 1 damage if you're present is kind of okay. 1 damage if it's a wetland. It's like kind of okay. Again, it's a bit underwhelming. We like yellow, gray, and green. We don't have any cards that have more than 1. I think I'll just grab the Dahan piece here. So, they're about to ravage the sands over here. I think we talked about preventing that with one of these 2 cards. Let's do it with the Years of Stillness. And then with the understanding that they can I mean, this is from a sacred site as well. Jungle gives +1 damage. So if they build here into the green, we can kill it. Though I'd much rather have targeted that land over there. We're slowly growing, so it's very difficult for us to reach. But it's basically the only card we have left. And again, we just don't have enough green. We had 2 mountain and 2 sunlight, but we don't have 2 green to get our bonus effect, unfortunately. So here we go. Year of Stillness. Let's look at the board. Right now they have 2 builds and a blight. So we'll take this. I mean, we basically gave away a turn last turn, spent a bunch of energy, and put a card in our discard pile. It was pretty bad. So when exploring, oh god, when exploring, they can place a building instead of an explorer. Yikes. And that's with a healthy land. It's still better than the blighted. On each board, add 1 animal to a land without blight that has buildings. Nice. During ravage, in every land, extra 1 defend per Dahan. That's not really relevant for this turn. So, a land with a building gets a dog. Let's do that over here. They didn't get to do their ravage because of our power that tell them nope. Then they built here and built there. Now they're going to explore, and they, unfortunately, they got, well, it's not even unfortunate. In phase 2, they have these little stage 2 escalations when you're playing with England, which means that on a board with the most cities and settlements, build in the land with the most cities and settlements, right? So we get to pick. So this has 1, 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 so we get to pick any of them. I think that because the sands just got ravaged, well, it doesn't really matter. This is coastal, which makes it dangerous. Let's build the second building down here in the mountains because we have some defense down here. Oh, and they got to build a city. In that case, maybe we let them do it in the sands, because then they will have click a land. Excuse me. So they got this, and then click a land to explore it. Oh, they got an explore action as well. Oh man, we're getting so many things right now. Sorry, yeah, if it's adjacent to at least 2, they get to build in them, and then I don't know, I guess they're getting an extra thing here. This is the one where they get a building instead of a man. I don't know, maybe it was better to put it over here, but I think this I can defend a little bit easier. Devouring ants we'll put on this tile, and we'll do 2 damage to this building. That kills it. That gets us first little bit of fear, and basically that means that next turn we are kind of in a, I mean, we're always in a rough spot, but specifically what's tricky is that they're about to build 2 more cities on our land, and they're about to ravage this northern forest. So how do we handle that? Right now I have Called to Tend, which is slow and wouldn't really help in this case. And then I have a Defend of 4, which is nice, but it only goes 1 distance from our sacred site. So I can't even build something to get there. So my cards aren't super helpful. I could play this, the Stillness. That would prevent that land from getting ravaged. Everything else I have is slow. So I think we'll do this. This is how we get the cards that we've discarded back. And then the question is, if I do that, what are the things that I'm going to want to do? Well, I think we need to build in this zone here. Do I need more money? Or do I need more, like, do I need more energy, or do I need to play more cards? That's hard to say. I think that right now I can get a good jump in cash, but I think for now, just moving towards playing more cards per turn is the right play. The Stillness protects us, and then also we have a card here that the Ritual of Destruction. When we have enough Dahan in one location, this is what we had tried to play earlier and failed. We do have it now. We can attack them, and that's within 1 range of this sacred site, and this is within 1 range of this normal presence. So we are good to go. Let's let it rip. Please do not ravage my jungle tile. This is also really helpful if they do pull like a jungle tile on this exploration, or a coastal tile, which is in the tier 2 deck. Alright, so now we get let the plants die and the land wither, or act to ease the drought. This is a tricky one, because I could discard cards to ease the drought. So really it's saying that on each board, again we have 1, we have to discard the top minor card. If it lacks a water symbol on it, which is likely, we're going to get a drought to a sands tile. And all these buildings are going to have -1 health. That's kind of good. Except for adding the blight is bad, but the rest is good. And then we can play cost 4 energy, or forget a blue card. Each spirit may add 1 of their presence with a land with the Haunt. So I have a land with the Haunt here. I could protect it and grow in power faster. To ease the drought, I could do it by forgetting a blue card. I have Call to Tend here, for instance, which has water on it. Giving them -1 health also feels nice, because I'm gonna want to blow up the city and the settlement. But the fact that I get to build a like a sacred site here and give it 3 defense for the future, I think is really good. Deal damage. Oh yeah, each wolf deals damage, and if they destroy a building, then they die for good. I guess we're gonna lose a wolf here. That's kind of poopy, and then this one will also do that. We could have split the damage, but then it wouldn't have killed the building, and then they would have ended up building a city. So it's better, even if we lose the animals for now, there's ways of getting them back, and we'll want to make sure we do that. All right, so we got a fear card before that was enough to put a fear card on the deck. So now it's going to reveal the fear card. We're in type 1, or isolation, so we get to remove 1 unit or building in a land that only has 1. That's incredible timing. If we pick this here, then they won't actually build in the wetlands. So now they do nothing up here, and they do nothing there because we canceled out all their stuff. I think they did build though, right? Yeah, so they're gonna build that city. Basically, they just didn't have anybody in this green zone, or enough damage to do they didn't have enough people to do enough damage in this green zone. And then, yeah, then they explored to the sands. So that makes this one a little bit dangerous here and here, but look, right now, let's stick to the plan. Rituals of Destruction. Go here, we get to do 5 damage. So we're gonna blow up this building and this building. And that's enough to get another fear card and a half for our next turn. Incredibly strong. And because we have 2 tokens in that land now, we actually have 3 defense. So they have 4 attack, we have 3 defense. So long as they don't do at least 2 damage, they don't blight the land. So unless the event screws us over, we're good. Next up, let's add a presence somewhere. Where do we want to add presence? Right now I'm feeling really good about our locations. I kind of like the idea of adding a presence, adding a presence to play a 3rd card, because right now we have pretty cheap cards, and we'll move up into this woods tile. We can play everything that we have, which would be good, because really what I want to do is I want to kill the things in this jungle tile using my ants, but I don't want to kill the Dahan, so we can gather up the Dahan first to get them out of that zone. And then this is defend 4 and remove a blight. Is that required? Not really. I mean, we could do it here just to remove the blight anyway. Also, interestingly, we can copy one of our powers twice using this. We finally have enough for once per turn a target spirit may double stuff. So I think we're good right now. If we look at the show, they are going to build on this sands, and they are going to build down here. Devouring ants can attack sands, so we might do that this turn once they've built the settlement. So first we go here. Second, again, they have enough to attack this location, but not enough to actually kill anything until the event comes up. So let's just remove this blight, make our island as healthy as possible. Each board add 1 to a land without invaders or Dahan. We'll add them up to this mountain tile, because again, well, they could ravage this. It's not really a big deal. Okay, I'll put them in the wetlands, actually. Just because I think that they'll end up exploring to the mountains and potentially building there, and right now, it's pretty good. We had no lands with animals, so we didn't get any benefit from the animals. And then house... Rouse the spirit. Each spirit with at least 3 Dahan amongst all its lands may use a power now instead of later. Ooh, wow. Where do we want to do that? They're going to build a settlement here. We could prevent them from building that settlement. I like the idea of actually... I like the idea of... I like a lot of ideas, but one of them is you kill this person before that they do the build action, right? That's kind of nice. Another is grouping everyone together with this card to pull him out of this tile, or to pull them into this tile, but... that doesn't actually accomplish as much as I want it to. And I certainly don't want to pull them into this tile because I only have 3 defense. Had I known I was going to get to play this earlier, I would have put my 4 defense here and then hauled everyone in for a big Dahan counterattack. But as it stands, we're just barely holding on to this. So let's just do a Devouring Ant, kill this guy, get a little bit of fear. And then each player gets to remove a person from a land with Blight. We have no Blight on our board. Well, that was a sad fear card for us. Invaders attack and got killed. They are now on terror level 2, so we only have to kill all their settlements and cities. They can have explorers left, and we can still be in the game. Or rather, that's what they need to hang on. And yeah, exploring into the jungle? No, into coastal lands. Yeah. Interesting. So now all 3 of these tiles are activated by coastal because they're all adjacent to this water. Ravage the sands. That's a tricky one for sure. We do have Devouring Ants, which does extra damage. Just trying to figure out what we want to do, because we could pull people out of different places so they don't do anything, but right now this isn't doing anything anyway. Yeah, I think we just do this in jungle or sands. So let's haul people in to the sands top. Well, actually, undo. Let's attack you. That allows me to do 2 damage. And then a Dahan would die if he was there, but they're not. And then we have the Ritual of the Land, where we can pull in this unit and this unit. And then we can also bring in some Dahans. I'm not sure that it's going to be super relevant, but let's bring some. We have some fighting to do in here. And we're going to need the Dahan at our side for that. And we did get to do that power a second time because of the power we used earlier. Because we used it once in the slow phase as part of the event card, and then once again because of our doubling action. So we did the sand ants thing twice. Pick a growth power. Well, I have no cards in my hand, so we're going to do Reclaim for sure. And I don't have tiles in here. That's kind of fine. I'm going to go ahead and put... Oh, we could play 4 cards, but I don't think we'd have the energy for 4 cards. We only have 4 energy coming in. So let's drive the energy card, and we'll double down to make this a huge tall stack. And now this is defended. They're going to build a city here if we don't do anything about it, but one thing at a time. The Stillness of the Land, skipping all invader actions, is pretty compelling right now. This is going to kill all the Dahan and blight the land. Right now, this would be defended if there was a Ravage. There isn't. This one's nothing. 2 lands are going to get built in. What is our best way of handling this? Skipping all their actions seems really good. Bringing all the Dahan into the jungle seems pretty good. And then doing the Ritual of Destruction to kill them all seems like a really potent combination. Because they're going to build a city in this coastal land. So let's do this. We're doing a lot in the slow phase. We're going to be able to draw in the Bountiful Earth twice if we want to, which is nice. So let's finish playing cards. Actually, it looks like we can technically do a 3-cost card twice. Interesting. I think I'd rather do a bunch of damage twice. Right? In fact, maybe we bring everyone into Sands and do it there, but... Rituals of Destruction twice seems pretty good. Yeah, let's do finish using powers. I know I could do this one a second time, but right now they're just going to build up here, and that's not a big deal. For some reason, it doesn't register this power when you do this little eyeball mode, just because it's a fancy power. But let's see. On boards in a land with exactly 1 Dahan. Oh no, with exactly 1 Dahan, or is adjacent to a city, replace a Dahan with a city. Oh no, they replaced my Dahan. I needed to pull in the Dahan, and now they're about to attack massively. Each player adds to a land with Blight, Dahan, or something, but I can't. Oh no, we're gonna get blighted up here. That's incredibly bad, because they turn the Dahan into one of them by assimilating them. Oh, actually no, it's not a blight. It's just a build turn. Yeah, okay. Still, they're gonna ravage all the coastal lands here in a second. And they're exploring into the jungle. Ugh. This is not bueno. For us to do as much damage as possible, I actually can't attack you up here. I need to group everyone into this tile and attack it. So we go here. We can haul in you. We can haul in you. And we can haul in some of these Dahanis. And then we can attack this land and do a ton of damage. Because it has the right amount of Dahan. And then I can copy that a second time, and that will kill the remainder and give another 2 fear. So that's a lot of fear being added to the deck for them. They're almost on terror level 3. But, big but, they have the ability to ravage coastal territories, which includes this sand land. And all I have is 4 defense for it. So if I look, right now they have 9 damage that's overflowing. From the 2 cities and 2 settlements, that's 10. And then the 2 people is 12, and we have 3 defense. So even if I put 4 more defense, we would not be bueno. However, I could redraw my cards again just to get these 3 cards and just go to town a second time. Or I could go for a major power, hoping that I get something fast. But I only have 6 power coming in. So I think that we're actually going to use a turn to reclaim cards again. And I could play 4 cards. I do have 6 power coming in. That's not quite enough. I think I need the 7th. So let's go ahead and put the 7th power down. And then saying that no actions are going to be taken by them means that they won't ravage this land as a coastal land, and they also won't build on it. So that's like already solid. Then we have Devouring Ants, which we could just use it twice if we can get 2 green. Never mind, there won't be 2 green. I want to make sure I play 2 green cards. So Draw of the Earth is nice. This is Defend 4, and we don't need it. Ritual of Destruction. I mean, I guess it's fine. We're gonna tell them that they can't take any actions in this territory. Then probably do Draw of the Land twice to bring in a tremendous number of people. Even though I could copy a different card, it's still better this way. So I bring in a whole bunch of Dahan, and then we do the Ritual of Destruction and try and blow up. If we can blow up the cities, we win. Or if we can get them, because if we blow up the cities, there'll be enough fear for them to go to terror level 1, which will mean the victory condition is only to kill that stuff, I think, right? No, we need to get 2 more fear cards. Yeah. Whatever, we use this on ourselves, and we tell them they can't take an action. Now, we've kind of confined them down to nothing. We could copy this power again. We want to use it, our doubling on something else. So we're finishing something else. Here, oh god, they found our locations of wonder. So here, it's each sacred site pushes a person to an adjacent land, which would push them out of this land. Would rather not do that. And we can be blighted a lot faster. It's not really a big deal, but it is, you know, something. Otherwise, we can spend 3 energy or forget a couple of red cards. We could forget our Ants card. And in each land with our Sacred Site and Invaders, we could do 2 damage, which is just here. It's just 2 damage. So we could forget our Ants card for a one-time 2 damage. Or we could destroy a stone from each spirit, which would allow us to grow faster. But at this point, we don't really need that. I think we just take the blight thing. We have the healthiest land ever, so that's fine. We will repulse them. They will take one of these dudes. It's ravaging coastal this turn. So we're going to take you and push you into this zone here. It's kind of annoying, but... Oh, and then I could push you... What? And then I could push you here. And then I could push you there. I can push you all along. Can I seriously do that? In each land. Oh, wow. That's kind of funny. So even now I could push him into here and push him up to there. But him ravaging this is nothing to me because I have 3 defense. So that's kind of funny that we can daisy chain it that far. Oh, weirdly enough, it doesn't think that that's cool. Let's once again repulse them. You go here, you go here, you go here, and then you go here. Okay, I have to do this in a very particular way for some reason. I can't opt out of taking the action, and because I'm going between so many of them, I want to do it this way so that we land on this tile. Next up, we have this. Each animal generates fear if advantages are present and moves to an adjacent land if not. Oh, we have one here now. Click a land for this to move to. You can move over there, that's fine. And then here, each spirit with at least 4 Dahan amongst its lands gains a minor power. I mean, look, man, I don't really know about this. This has sunlight, green. They're all kind of equal. 2 fear, 2 invaders, plus 2 range with all the powers. We don't really need that anymore. You can, again though, this is like a cooperative thing that really helps allies at times. 2 damage or removes 1 blight. It's slow though. 1 damage per Dahan or gather 3 Dahan. I feel like that call for bloodshed is it. The level of fear within the ranks of invaders is palpable. Skip the next normal explorer, draw an additional explorer card. So they miss 1 explorer and then they get 2. And then they get another one. Each player may downgrade 1 in a coastal land. Yeah, sure, I guess. Invaders Ravage. Oh, presumably I should have done this one, though. Undo. I should do this one, because if they get a mountains card, they won't be able to explore to this other mountain. Which is good for us. Because they need to either be on the coast, or they need to be pushing in. And there we go. Now we're ready to do our powers. Let's, again, go in here, haul in some Dahan. And then even though I could do the big power twice, let's haul in some more Dahan. And then do our big attack here. This is for 5 damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They still have a city, but I mean, it's a big one. And now if they attack this land and they don't have enough to kill the Dahan are going to fight back. we do have a guard for 4 in our hand, so I think that we just take a second to get another power card. We also have the Devouring Ants. We also have the Call for Blood. There's this guy over here. Then we have the Devouring Ants, so... yeah, I think we're good. Let's do the power card. And we'll gain the ability to put 4 cards down. 4 powers. And then we can gain a card. Again, we could go for some majors. Let's grab a major just to show it off. Here is a major card. You can see, look, the costs are 4, 4, 3, 4. I think some of them do cost 2, but like, they're pretty impressive cards. And you can see here, as you get more symbols that match up, you can do bonuses. So more damage. Here, if you can get lots of green and purple, you can do way more fear. Here, if you've got fire and green, you can do extra damage. This puts in a lot of these. Like, I think this is like really difficult brush or something like that. It basically just makes it so that people can't explore there. Add 1 per 1 damage. Okay. In adjacent lands. That's actually kind of cool. Pumped up Calamity. You can add one of these 2 things. It has nice colors for us. Remove any number, and for each token removed, we can do a ton of damage. Kind of like adding both of these. And then this doesn't really work with us, but fine. And then finally, what was the last one? It's between these ones. Maybe we just take the Pent Up Calamity. I don't have enough power for all of this anyway, but this has green and stuff on it. Let's go in here. We can get rid of a card. We can get rid of the Calls for Bloodshed. I like it, but we don't need it right now. So playing these 3 cards here means that we're going to be able to do a duplication of a 1-cost card. So Devouring Ants, we can play twice. Let's go ahead and go here. We can do a power 2 times. And you, Pent Up Calamity. I'm just wondering if we want to use this now. Prevents a build action and a Ravage. Like, basically, I don't even need to defend if I have it. I could put it somewhere else as well. Remove any number of kind of blights and other things. Again, if I do this, there's no damage coming, there's no builds coming, and this is gonna like die. And that means that we win the game. So, I mean, for the sake of argument, let's just add some stuff over here and then see what these guys do. Each land with at least 2, replace half of these with those rounding up. So the urbanization did nothing. And then Stricken. Invaders do not ravage in lands with this stuff, which, fine, I'm glad. I want them to ravage because I want to attack them back. On each board, push 2 from a land with a city to a land without cities. Oh, that's annoying, because I wanted them to do a bunch of damage. But we'll push 1 into there and 1 into there. It's fine. Growing sense of unease. So each player may choose a land with adjacent to 3. Invaders should not ravage there. I mean, look, I want them to ravage because I want to counterattack them. So yeah, they're not going to ravage here. And now they attack the jungle, and sure enough, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've destroyed the last building, and we're good. And this is on easy mode with a simple spirit, and we were almost able to just kill every single piece they had on the board. We did have a huge blemish early on, but like, trust me, when you add in like some insane invaders with a lot of, like, they get so much tempo, they get so many bonuses from cards, the decks get stacked kind of against you, you have less time in phase 1, and then more phase 2 and phase 3 sooner. It gets pretty wild. If I hit new game, for instance, like, we can see, like, here's Brandenburg, Prussia. They get land rush. They get to build extra buildings all the time. The deck gets thinned out with a level 3 card pulled from the back of the deck, stacked in the front, so you get some insanity there. You get, like, terrifyingly efficient. The game starts off on a 3 and then goes through 2 2 2 3 3 3 3, like, insane difficulty here. And then, like, fear cards is what you need to, like, win the game. There's 9 on basic, but 12 on difficult, right? There's so many things building up, and that's one faction, right? We can look at another one just real briefly for the sake of this kind of look at. I think Sweden is interesting. Sweden here has swayed by invaders, so they kind of replace your Dahan with cities. That can be very difficult to fight if you're a build that really relies on the Dahan. Again, you get insane numbers of cards, like fear cards, 13 for Sweden. They're only a difficulty 8 versus 10 of the top of the other one. But I know that, like, when they do Ravage, they do, like, additional double Ravages or stuff like that, which can cause, like, a ton of problems. And the board starts off with additional cities. There's a mining rush. Like, it's insane. And then when it comes to, like, spirits, you saw us play this rock dude. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Like, this guy here does a bunch of fear stuff. This lady here speaks to the Dahan and leads them around. Claw and Fangs dude works with, like, the animals of the board. Spread of Rampant Green spreads his tokens out, and then he destroys them and grows back. He's, like, constantly regenerating. You've got, like, freaking Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares. He's like a freaking fear demon that doesn't even destroy things. He just gets in people's heads and paralyzes them. Forbidden Keeper of the Woods, creates forbidden groves. The ocean comes in and out with the tide, right? Like, there's just so much insanity and fun stuff. And what happens when you play with, like, 4 other people is that you're all working with this micro puzzle that can work and help other people. So then you end up being like, all right, I'm going to handle these things. I need help with this turn with that. I'm going to try being proactive. Like, it's such an interesting and compelling game. And if people enjoy this, if people watch this, I will certainly play more of it on the channel. Maybe even incorporate another couple things here, like different, like playing 2 at once, two spirits. There's also the idea of, I think my favorite spirit to play in the past was always the Ocean. I actually already have him selected. What's his name? Ocean's Hungry Grass, which you literally swallow the invaders into the ocean, and then you can spend them as energy. Like, it's just so fun. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, because this is a game I really, really like, and I've been trying to pilot a bunch of different games on the channel recently to see if people are interested, so fingers crossed. See you for now. Ciao.